Hi everyone, welcome to the webinar for today. We are here to discuss on how to be an early childhood teacher in Australia. So for this webinar discussion, we have a couple of panelists who are well known in the industry. We have Sarah Jobson she's a course chair from Graduate Diploma Early Childhood Education in Victoria University. Along with that, we have industry partner Jingyi, who is a teacher director at Nara Preschool and also a CEO of Job Bank Private Limited, which is a training and recruitment company which specializes for teachers. And we have our very own Eason, who is an international graduate who have undertaken this study, and he's currently also working as an early childhood teacher. So I would like to welcome you all to today's webinar.
Thank you very much.
Yep. So how we would be going on with the event is we'll be doing sort of a panel discussion on some questions that I will be asking through three of you guys individually, and we would also be taking questions from our viewers. We will still be waiting for a couple of them to join in. We have a few people already joined into the webinar, but we'll give them a minute or so to so that we have good number of students who are interested into this. Meanwhile, also want to let everyone know that we would be having a sort of a questionnaire, like let's say sort of a Visa gift card sort of thing for our viewers. At the very end, there would be a question asked, and whoever gives their answer on the chat section, we'll select one, and then we'll get in touch with you to for your gift card. Right, and as the webinar is all about early childhood teacher, I think every one of us do have some sort of an influence from our teachers in the past when we were very young. You know, we are inspired by one or the other who has really played the role of a mentor. You know, like I know our parents are there who teach us various things on way of on our life, but like teachers also plays a very big role, because I think since grade like preschool, like since early childhood thing until you do your bachelor's, master's, and all that we do throughout our life, there is always a teacher or a mentor who plays a very important important role in that sort of thing. So yeah, thanks to all the teachers out there who has contributed a lot to lots of students in their future. So meanwhile, we'll just wait for a couple of more attendees to join. All right. Meanwhile, any one of you wants to say something, like introduce yourself, please feel free to introduce yourself. Sarah, please introduce yourself first to our viewers as well.
Sure. My name is Sarah, and I have worked as an early childhood teacher, and I've taught lots of places basically. Primary, secondary, early childhood, playgroup, all sorts of, you know, I've worked with university students, obviously. I've taught in China to university students, Australia. But I think early childhood teaching is my favorite. I really just, I'm probably going into my questions now. I just love being an early childhood teacher though, because of all the freedom that you have, the creativity, the ability to just really listen to someone and go follow them and their direction. And you get to see children when they're learning things for the first time. It's really quite exciting. Maybe Jingyi, Eason, you might have other ideas about why you love early childhood teaching.
Totally agree with you, Sarah.
Jingyi, so please introduce yourself as well.
Okay, can I share my screen? I like to introduce myself with PowerPoint.
Is that okay? Possible? Yes, please.
Yeah. So hello everyone, my name is Jingyi. So I did my Master of Teaching at the University of Melbourne, my Bachelor of Education at Minsk University in Beijing in China. And I have always had passion in teaching. And I've been working 10 years. Wow, 10 years by now, time flies. After I graduated, I've been working for like different council run kindergarten, such as City of Moonee Valley, City of Greater Geelong, City of Banyu, and Best Chance nonprofit organization. And currently I'm working at a sessional kindergarten managed by YMCA Ballarat. And I've been the teacher director at this sessional kinder for 4 years. I have also worked in a few suburbs where there are a lot of refugees and people from vulnerable background. I also have supported lots of children with additional needs and challenging behaviors. And trust me, it's really a rewarding job. Yeah, and because I have a lot of student teachers coming to do placement at my kinder, so they actually requested to have me to support their interview and also with their new job. And that's how I got this business idea, and that's how I started Job Bank. Yeah, that's all about me.
Yep. Eason, please go ahead.
Hi, my name is Eason. So I've been teaching in early childhood teaching career for over 3 years already since I graduated. So I graduated from RMIT graduate diploma in early child education, which AECC helped me to apply it through. Before I studied my bachelor graduate diploma, I did my Bachelor of Biomedicine in Melbourne University. So currently I'm also a kinder teacher for in my current job, and also I'm the educational leader, just looking all the programming and all the documentations all over the center. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Thank you everyone for that. Okay, now I can see that we have a good number of attendees for the webinar, so we'll start our session. So I would like to again welcome everyone who are viewing our webinar through wherever you guys are there. Just letting you know, this is about how to be an early childhood teacher in Australia. So we are accompanied again by Sarah Jobson, who is a course chair, graduate diploma early childhood education in Victoria University. We have our industry partner, Jingyi, who is a teacher director at Nara Preschool and CEO of Job Bank Private Limited. We have our very own international student graduate, Eason, who studied this course and is currently working in the same field. So from now on, from here on, I'll go on with asking a couple of questions in regards to the same industry. We'll start off with Sarah, but I can mix the question as well. Like if I find something interesting, I'll get hold of Eason, I'll get a hold of Jingyi in between. There won't be a boring session. I'll try to make as interesting as possible. This is something new to us. Previously, the webinar used to happen like face-to-face. Now we're in digital world. So bear with me, everyone, please. All right. So Sarah, if you could please start off, like give us a very brief idea about the program in relation to the early childhood teacher.
Sure. So the early childhood teacher training in Australia is accredited with a national organisation. So there's particular requirements that all early childhood courses will have that qualify you to become an early childhood teacher. I can talk from the perspective of Victoria University. So there are particular things that we need to do to teach you to be an early childhood teacher, and Victoria University does that in a particular way. So when you begin your studies in early childhood, we begin by introducing you to the sector, what it's like. We prepare you to go out on placement. So you do a little bit of theory, learn about the sector, what it's like to be an early childhood teacher. Then you go out on placement and you get to try out what you've learned with real children and other teachers. So someone like Jingyi or Eason would be there to support you as you are practicing what you've learnt in the classroom. And you start off your very first placement just with some observations of the children, what's happening, working out how the whole thing works. Because I'm guessing you remember your primary education, your secondary education, but you may not have even had education in an institution prior to school, or you don't remember it at all. So it's just that first placement, getting to know what it's really like here in Australia to be an early childhood teacher. And then back to uni for some more study about philosophies, theories of education, how children learn, how to observe, how to see children's learning, because it's a little bit hard to see it. It looks so easy. It looks so effortless. It's just children playing, right? So we teach you how to see what children are learning, how to plan for children's learning. At Victoria University, the way that we do that is you do one subject at a time. So we'll give you a really intensive study on one particular area. Let's say philosophy and theories of learning, which is what I'm teaching now. And then you'll go into the centre and you'll look and see, how does this get applied in real life? How does a real teacher use theories and philosophies in education? And then we gradually build you up, come back to uni for a bit, another subject, another placement, right until the end of your course, when you would do what we call your graduate placement, where you take full responsibility under the supervision of a mentor teacher, take full responsibility for delivering an early childhood education program to young children, with lots of play, joining in their play, setting up exciting environments for children, writing to parents about what children are learning. And we gradually build up your understanding through various topics like math, science, art, movement, music, all lots of creative things, language, literacy, maths, until you're able to do it. Until we take you from a person who perhaps really likes children, but doesn't know how to do the job, and by the end we'll take you to a place where you are able to run an early childhood program with the support of the other staff who would be with you.
So a quick one again on top of that. At VU or in general, the course is registered for a 1-year degree, right? It's like 8 units or something of that sort.
If you do a graduate diploma of early childhood education, that is one year full time.
Yeah.
Eight units, yes.
8 units. Okay, cool with that. Okay, again, back to Sarah again. I'll just continue with Sarah first. I think I'll just try mixing it up though. Sarah, like for example, let's say I come to the university, Victoria University, to understand more about early childhood, and if I really wanted to be motivated towards, I'm interested towards children, but few things that I might need to know, like before I jump into the program. Anything, any suggestion that you'd like to share with us? Something to do? Why study? Why study early childhood?
I think when I ask people, why have you decided to study early childhood education? Most people will say that they like children, or that they want to make a difference in the world. It's a really big priority for people, and they have recognized that if I want to make a difference in the world, we need to start with children who are in their most important developmental stage of their life. The brain grows between the age of birth to 5 faster than it does at any other time in our life. So it's a really highly significant role to be undertaking. So I think that's why a lot of people choose to do this particular course. There are other reasons, of course. There are multiple reasons why we choose this course. For me personally, I see our job at the university, whatever your reason is, to help you be able to do this job well, and in a way that's really going to help children to be the best person that they can be and to have the best life that they can have. Because the work that we do now with very young children has impacts throughout their whole life. Even though we can't, you probably can't remember your early childhood teachers, but we're actually sort of building your brain. We build the brains of young children. What we do is really, really important. So I think that's a really significant part about why people choose to study early childhood education.
Yeah. So this reminds me of my high school, where I had a clay modeling class where you make pots with clay and all that. So your role as an early childhood teacher is something to develop, like to make a finished product, let's say, starting from the very beginning. Wow, that's a very, very, very great job to be into. Right, Sarah, again back to you. So okay, so we learned what it is, what one needs to do. But if one wants to be an early childhood teacher, what would be the pathway? Like, what do they have to study to, or how to become an early childhood teacher, let's say?
So for most people here, is the graduate diploma going to be the best option? Yeah. So we have a lot of students who have studied bachelors in other disciplines. So maybe accountants, engineers. We even had a couple of builders. We've had a fashion designer, aerospace engineering, stock traders, all sorts of different people who have decided, I would like to study this course. So to undertake a graduate diploma, basically you need to have a bachelor and you need to have an interest in studying early childhood education, and you probably need to have the ability, the time to put into the program. It's a big change. There'll be lots of thinking that you need to do, lots of reflecting, lots of reading, lots of practicing with your teaching. So I think that's an important consideration to have. Do you have the time and the energy to put into some study at this particular point in time? Does that answer your question? It's
yes. So general idea is one needs to have a graduate diploma in early childhood education, isn't it?
yes, you need to, in order to teach in Australia. We're in Victoria, down the bottom of Australia, so we so that's my context. Once you have that graduate diploma, then you would register with our teacher registration body here. That's called the Victorian Institute of Teaching, and there would be an English language requirement for you. That Institute of Teaching has a standard of English that you need to meet, and then you would register and you would be able to be employed as an early childhood teacher. It's a very strong growth area in our country. We have desperate need for early childhood teachers right now. They're very hard to find in both metropolitan and regional areas. Especially in the regional areas, there's a very high need for early childhood teachers. So a lot of our students actually, before they get their qualification, they will work in childcare, in early childhood education. They will work in the sector whilst they're working towards that full teaching qualification, and often they'll move into teaching positions through those relationships and experiences that they've had working in a childcare centre.
So also I've heard in news and like in news through social media or even in TV that the government out here in Victoria are trying to promote, like teachers, early childhood teachers, to jump into this industry, or outside people to jump into the industry, as the demand is very high and something of that, right? Since 2019, I have been hearing about this even in the news in Victoria and all that stuff. So yeah, guys, if you're tuned in right now, early childhood is the way to go.
Yeah, we are so lucky in Victoria here. Our state government has invested enormous amounts of money in producing really high quality early childhood programs. So they've doubled the number of early childhood teachers that they require, because they've put more early childhood teachers into childcare centres. They've always funded what we call 4-year-old kindergarten. 4-year-olds have received government funding for their programs. Now 3-year-olds also receive government funding for their programs. So all of those 3-year-old classes now need early childhood teachers as well. So we've more than doubled the needs that we have for early childhood, thanks to the investment of our state government in early childhood education.
Thank you, Sarah, for your information. Okay, guys who have just joined in, we are here discussing about early childhood teacher, and we have various dignitaries, let's say, from various part of life working on the early childhood teaching industry here. So now I would like to move on to Jingyi. So as you are industry partner, you deal with lots of graduates, let's say, or lots of students who are studying this course. So are there any specific skills, experience that you are looking when hiring early childhood teacher in your organization, or what does the general recruitment process looks like?
Okay, I'll explain again with my PowerPoint.
Yep, sure.
Yeah. Not this one. Okay. Can you see the screen?
Yes.
But somehow the video panel is in the way. Let me see how can I hide the video panel. Hide video. Okay. Oh, good. All right. So when we're looking for early childhood teachers, generally the skills we're looking for first, a sound understanding and knowledge of early childhood development and education, which you will gain while you study at Victoria University. Another thing is a sound understanding and knowledge of the framework. So like a national quality framework. And in Victoria, we have Victorian Early Years Learning and Development Framework. Nationally, we also have Early Years Learning Framework. So that's the guidance for the for teachers to plan early childhood program. So we want the candidates to show that they have a thorough understanding of the frameworks. The next one is they are able to develop, document, and implement a developmentally appropriate education program for the children, and also with parental involvement. So while you go to the interview, it's always a good idea to bring a portfolio with all the like lesson plans or learning stories that can show that you can develop an interesting, engaging program, and also show the evidence that you can engage with the parents really well. And the next one is have great time management skills. It is a really fast-paced, work environment. The children, individual children have different needs, and the parents might want to talk to you, and you have limited time to do the paperwork. So I guess time management skill is a requirement for a lot of jobs, not just the early childhood teacher. And the next one is the interpersonal skills. So you are able to build positive relationships with children, staff, and families, and even the broader community, such as the local school. So great communication skills and interpersonal skills are really important. Next one is ability to present written documentation in a clear, concise, and methodical manner. So have great written communication skills is also really important. And the general other skills we're looking for is great leadership skills, because usually in a room, the ECT, the early childhood teacher, is the leader, and you might work with 1 or 2 assistants. So leadership skills, and then teamwork. And the next one is to the framework. I have mentioned it before. Okay. So the general recruitment process is like this. First, you will see the job advertised on the website such as Seek, and then you send in your resume, cover letter. Sometimes with like council ranking the guidance or some non-profit organization, they usually have some selection criteria. So you need to write a statement addressing these selection criteria. Usually it's like a paragraph and just talking really briefly about how you meet these criteria. And then after about 1 or 2 weeks, the employer will shortlist all the candidates they are interested. And the different organization is different. Some organization, they start with a phone interview, so they can quickly get a feeling of your communication skills or your English skills, and then after the phone interview, if they have a really good impression of you, and then they will organize the panel interview, where you usually sit, there might be 2 or 3 people interviewing you with different questions. And some organization even do an online assessment, so they have some questionnaire. You need to answer. You need to address these questions before you have an opportunity to go into the panel interview. And I also know some large organizations do group interview as well. That's a really good way to quickly select the great team player and the leader, because they will ask you to do different tasks as a group, and they can tell whether they are you are the candidates they want. All right, so after the interview, they will do a reference check. So you need to have at least 2 referees. and the one preferably is a center director, manager level. So that's why your performance in your placement is really important. If you leave really good impression for your mentor, your teacher who's mentoring your placement, then he or she usually will be happy to be your referee. And if they can give you a good reference, it's also a really good support for you to get a good job. So make sure you do really well in your placement, and then ask them to be your referees. And then after that, if they're really happy with you, they will ask you to provide all the documents like working with children check, police check. Make sure that you have a clear history. And then after that, you guys will negotiate the contract, so like hourly rate, annual leave, planning time, and once both parties are happy, and then you can sign the contract. So that's generally what the recruitment process look like.
Right.
Thank you.
Yep. So I was thinking of mixing up our conversation, but I would still like to continue with Jingyi here. So if a graduate, very fresh graduate comes to you, right? Like he or she would have the placement within the study, but like does not have the too much of experience. So what would be the key success factor that could help one to land a job?
So first is like, if I get to see her like performance, say, that student already is doing a placement at my kinder, because we are so experienced, we can tell straight away whether this student is genuinely passionate working with children or not. So say if you are at my kinder and you're just standing around, not really talking to children, well, that's really a bad sign. But if you are always getting down at children's level, talking with them, asking them open-ended questions, and then really showing us you enjoying that interaction, then straight away we have really good impression of you. Even though you don't have much experience, we know you will be a great teacher, and it's okay. Like we are happy to support you. We know you are a graduate teacher, so don't think you are in a bad position because you are a new graduate teacher. So the key is show your passion, your great attitudes, and you're eager to learn. And the next key thing is, as I said, you need to do well in your placement, so your mentor will give you good reference. So that's also a point. Another thing is like you need to do well in the interview. I heard a story from a center director. I was doing some casual work there, and then she said, one is a graduate teacher, another one has a few years experience. So that another candidate just feel like, oh, I will get the job really easily. But the center director picked another person who's a new graduate teacher because she just doing, like in the interview, when she answered the question, she has, really rich facial expression and body language, and you can just feel that her passion in teaching. So I guess doing well in interview is also really important, and having a teaching portfolio to showcase all the learning experience you've done with children, that will also be really helpful. And also another thing is do some casual work. As Sarah said before, do some casual work while you're studying, because sometimes the casual opportunity will lead you to a permanent job if you're doing really well. And especially some organization, for example, the public sector, these kindergartens are really hard to get in. But if you start with being a casual educator or teacher for them, and then once they have a permanent teaching position, they will much prefer someone who's already worked for them. Yeah.
Okay, again, back to you. Have you noticed any trend, as we're recovering from COVID, and everyone, we're trying our best to do that. And so have you found, or have you come across any trend that we have observed in the industry?
I can say that childcare industry is not affected by the COVID at all, because the childcare is still running as normal. And during this in the past year, the whole year was affected by COVID. I actually helped about 120 teachers to find jobs. So the demand is still super high. And also with the 3-year-old kindergarten funding rolling out, next year for all the metropolitan area. We definitely need a lot of teachers. So I'm really confident to say you are still, it's very easy to find a job as an ECT, in Australia.
So job is there, but what about the pay?
Oh, okay.
How well are we paid?
That's a good question. That's what you guys are really interested in. Good news is there's a pay rise. When I started working as a teacher 10 years ago, 2012, and I was paid about $28.85 per hour. But now the new graduate, some of my students can get $35, $36. Well, that's the good ones. But averagely they can get about $32 per hour. That's really good. And then that's the private sector. Let me show you the public sector. The pay is even better. I'll show you my PowerPoint.
I think it's time for me to change my career as well.
Yeah, and this industry you will feel really rewarded. All right, so this is the public sector, and when you graduated, now we can see the 2021 April, this one. So you will get $36.17 per hour. So the whole year it will be about 71,000. Yeah, it's pretty good. And then with our public sector, the new contract will be approved soon. So in the next 4 years, every half year we have a pay rise. So eventually the new graduate will get $39.34. That's amazing. Well, I won't compare to other jobs randomly, but I know with the office job, I don't think you can get that much. It will be 20 something dollars per hour. So it's definitely a well-paid job. Yeah, and also very rewarding. And if you can find a job with public sector, you can also get paid school holiday. So in Australia, we have 4 school holidays. Across the year, there will be about 3 months. So 3 months paid time off. Imagine that. So it's really good work-life balance.
Now to our very own Eason, our international graduate who has completed his course and is currently working in the industry. Eason, now tell me what inspired you to become an early childhood teacher? What is your daily daily routine into that?
Firstly, just like Sarah said and Jingyi said, you need to have a passion in this industry, and my passion is just love playing with the children and just love being around with the children. So that was my first thing that led me to become an early child teacher. And the other reason why I became an early child teacher is I didn't really mind sharing with you because I didn't have a very good early child education back then. I didn't start my primary school until I was around 8 years old. Mm-hmm. So when I first started, I feel so struggle just to keep up with my work, and I just realized how it is important to have a quality early child education. So that's why I want to be that a life-changing person for all the young learning individuals. That's why I decided to become an early child teacher. And being an early child teacher is just like Jingyi and Sarah said, it's very fast, in a very fast-paced environment, where you always have to compete with the time just to make sure that all the tasks are done. So the routine is quite similar, in when you're volunteering as well. So firstly, when you get to the work, then you try to prepare all the document for the day, all the checklists for the children, just to make sure that everybody is there, and there's a greet and meet session with all the children when they get to the room, and just try to settle with the children first, and then normally the program will commence around 9 a.m. in the morning, especially for the kinder program, where we would do a morning group time, and then where we will have a morning tea session as well before the group time. And then we will have a free play for about 1 hour or 2 hours or so before we have a lunch time. So, and then we would have a meditation time where all the children have time to relax their body, or sometimes like the children needs to go to sleep, then that is the time where they go to sleep for about an hour or two or so. And then we will have another second group time, which is the afternoon group time. So normally in a group time, like we talk about, like we do general discussions about the day, or if there's any significant events coming up, then we talk about it. There are lots of intentional teaching in the group time, and a lot of game activities in the group time as well, just to make sure that the children are engaging in the group time with the teacher. And also we have, as a part of the duty, we have to set up a lot of different propagation experiences for, as we call it, play-based learning, where we teach the children indirectly through play rather than intentional teaching. And then, so around 3 or 4, so we'll have like a group session, group story session time, and then around 5, then the program just conclude for the day.
Thank you for sharing so detailedly. You'll have an idea on how your day is, right? This reminds me of one. I think it was a video channel in YouTube where a Japanese guy, you know, he goes to a very different profession every week and tells them about how their day happens. So something of that Eason shared. Thank you, Eason, for that. Another question, Eason. So how was your journey, you know, from international student to working as an early childhood teacher now here in Australia? And also, if you have any advice to our international students who are about to graduate in terms of finding jobs later on or something of that sort?
To be honest, my journey is quite smooth. Like I got the teaching position straight away after I graduated.
Wow.
And also, actually, I got a job while I was in a placement. So I already got hired when I was doing my first placement, where they desperately need of the staff. So I started off as a teacher assistant in the kindergarten, and then. But I think that the most important thing is that you need to impress well to your mentor and to your center director when you're doing a placement. So the most important thing that I would recommend to all the future students is just to do well and just show your passion, that you are passionate to be in this industry. Just like Jingyi said, that you can see straight away if that student has the passion for this industry. So I was really passionate. I showed a lot of passion, and I was very committed. The very first day that I was in the placement, and I was eager to learn a lot, and I was interacting with the children, even though that was the very first time that I interacting with the children, you know, but a lot of stress, to be honest, but still a lot of the support from the staff, from your mentor, and then they saw the potential for me, so they hired me after first week of the placement that I did with them, and then I got the job from them. Moving forward, after I graduated, after I obtained my VIT, so they hired me as a permanent ECT, the early child teacher. Yeah.
Well, thank you for sharing your journey, Eason. Okay, and now it's time for our viewers. If you have any question, please drop it down on the chat section, and then I'll pick up a couple of questions and ask the panelists out here. Meanwhile, we have one already here, which was just dropped in as soon as we started our webinar. I think this would be more to do with Sarah. I think I'll ask you this. If please feel free. One of our attendees have asked, I'm not currently in Australia. However, like, he's done his admission and everything has been done. If the border does not open, how do you think the placement will happen from the university side?
That's an excellent question. I can answer from Victoria University's perspective.
Yes.
So, well, you do need to do your placements in Australia. So from Victoria University's perspective, you can do your studies first, and you can wait for your placements. Eventually, you know, at Victoria University, we're happy to wait for you to get that opportunity to do all the studies you need. We don't have any particular deadline for you to get those placements done, but they will need to be done in Australia, and they do need to be done before you can graduate and receive your qualification.
Thank you. As more questions are coming in, I have a couple of them prepared for myself as well, so that there are a few things covered. So in regards to finding placement, Sarah, would that be looked after by the university, or does student have to work out on their own?
So we have a couple of different options. So if you are enrolled in the face-to-face classes, if you're on campus, the university will organise those placements for you. If you're enrolled in our online course, then we ask that you arrange those placements, because you get some more flexibility. You get to choose your dates. So because you're the one choosing the dates, you're the best person to organise the placement. And that involves calling up the centre and saying, I'd like to do my placement. I need to be with children aged 3 for 10 days. Can you help me on these dates? And then the centre will say whether they can have you on those dates or not, because they need to balance out all the students who are looking for placements. And then you tell the university, and the university will do the rest of the arrangements for you.
There are lots of questions coming on in regards to COVID-19 scenario. So right now, are the placement places accepting students for the placement?
Yes, yes. The centres are being amazing right now, actually. We have very few cases of COVID right now in Australia. So everything is continuing as normal in the centres. Students are going in, children are going in. It's just exactly the same as it was pre-COVID.
Okay, cool. So I've got, thank you, Sarah, for that again. I've got one more question here. I'll just read it out. I am an international student. I finished my fine arts degree working as a child art teacher for 3 years in Sydney. I would love to stay and work in Australia permanently as an ECT. Any suggestion I could purchase a okay, that's any suggestion if I could purchase a diploma or master's degree in ECT? Sarah, would you be able to address that?
Yeah, so you've got fabulous experience, so that's really going to help you working as an ECT. You can do either the graduate diploma. There is a diploma, which is a lower level qualification. That won't help you if you wish to be an early childhood teacher. The graduate diploma and the master's will both enable you to work as an early childhood teacher. It's going to depend whether you want to do the 1-year course or the 2-year course, whether you want a graduate diploma or a master's. And it also might depend, we just ask that you check with the teacher registration body in your state. If you want to work in Sydney, call up the New South Wales Teacher Registration Board and ask them, what is the qualification that I would need to be an early childhood teacher? Is it graduate diploma or is it master's?
Master's. Yeah, thank you, Sarah, again. Jingyi, before we move into the, let's say, lucky draw for our viewers, do you want to add up anything?
Sorry, can you please say it again?
Do you want to add any industrial experience or anything that we might have missed out during our webinar discussion?
No, really. I just want to say, I'm also an international student, and being a teacher and being so connected with the community that I work in, I really feel, it gives me a sense of belonging as well, working as a teacher. And because the families and the children, they are very grateful, and also the primary school teachers, they are also keeping good relationship with you. So I actually get, my sense of belonging by working this job. Yeah.
Thank you for that. Okay, now I would like to ask questions to our viewers. If you guys have been listening very carefully, I have just prepared a question here. Let me look. Yep. So guys, if you're ready, please drop the answer on the chat section, and the person who drops it first will be selected as the winner. And then we will get in touch with you for your $100 voucher. The question is, in Victoria, what is the registration body that you need to get in touch with for your registration? And again, I repeat, in Victoria, what is the registration body that does the registration for early childhood teacher? All right, we are getting response.
That was a hard question.
Yeah. So here the question was for Victoria, guys. Keep that in mind.
I'm impressed that Mavis has used the ASEQA acronym. It's very impressive. ASEQA stands for, I don't even know if I can do it. Australian Children's Education and Care Quality Authority.
Yeah. So Sarah, I think we've got answers as well. So what would be the right answer? I'll get back to you. What would be the right answer, Sarah?
It's VIT.
VIT, right? Thank you.
Institute of Teaching.
Yeah. So we have Jolene, if I pronounce that correctly. You are the winner for this draw, and thank you for having the right answer. We will get in touch with you separately for your gift voucher. I'll just make a note of your details here, and then we should get in touch with you. All right. So saying that, we have come to the end of the webinar. Thank you all the panelists here. Thank you, Sarah. Thank you, Jingyi. Thank you, Eason, our international graduate. It was lovely to have you all together in one platform, discussing about course, discussing about how you get job into the industry, and discussing as in the viewpoint of international student, as shared by Eason. Thank you so much all for being here. Thank you all again, and have a great day. And if our viewers wants to get in touch with us for other questions, if you want to start off with your admission, please get in touch with AECC Global. You can find us out on any social media platform. You can walk into our office. Our office are open. We are there to address your inquiry. We're open on Monday to Friday, 9 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. and I hope to see you guys there. Bye-bye. Thank you all again.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Jingyi. Thanks, Eason. Thanks.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.